welcome to Pilates Live at 5. Today's class is going to be focusing on the side seams of our body. So the side seams of your top and your leggings. And also looking at quite a lot of rotation around the spine, which sort of twists those side seams into different directions. So let's start with our feet quite wide, shoulder width apart. And let's just take some reaches up. Just 4 of them. So reaching up, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm just going to turn sideways. I want you to just release your body from here. So it's like someone's cut your puppet strings at the top. So the arms drop down nice and relaxed. You're still looking up to the ceiling. Then you bend your knees. Stay looking up, stick your bottom out, find your knees with your hands and just allow your spine to unravel all the way down. Slide your hands down your shins to your feet and then roll up. And take another 4 reaches up. So I'm going to stay sideways for the moment. 4, 3, 2, 1. Really thinking of stretching that side seam of your torso. Allow the arms to relax, stay looking up, bend the knees, relax all the way down, slide your hands down to your feet and rolling all the way up. We're just going to slightly change the arms when we're down there on this next one. So reaching up, trying to lead a different arm each time. And then allow the arms to relax. Sorry, not taking the head down, stay looking up, relaxing all the way down, taking those hands down your shins to your feet. When you're down there, just cross your hands over so that you're touching the side seam at your ankles of your legs. And then as you come up, keep touching the side seam of your leggings, touching the side seam of your t-shirt or your top, and then open up the elbows over your head, keep it quite tight, and then reaching up again. And then another 4, 3, 2, 1. Let those arms drop, bend the knees, stick the bottom out, relax all the way down. Place the other hand on top this time and rolling up, unraveling vertebrae by vertebrae. And again, 4, 3, 2. Let's do 2 more of these. Let those arms drop, relax all the way down, take the hands down, cross the other arm in front. As you come up, watch those knees don't cave in, push the knees out towards your little toe side of your feet. And last one, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time when we're down there, stay down there and just straighten your legs a little bit as you take a breath out, 2 or 3 times. Let your head hang, nod your head, shake your head, check that there's no tension in the back of the neck, and then crossing those arms over again and rolling up through the spine, unraveling all the way to the top. Brilliant. I'm going to go slightly on a diagonal, and let's just have the nice swing of the arms, nice and weighted. Swinging the arms forwards and backwards, swing them from your shoulders. And as I'm taking my arms back behind me, I'm just rocking back onto my heels. And then when I'm bringing my arms forwards, I'm raising my heels. It doesn't have to be pretty, you don't have to be hugely on balance, but it will be quite a challenge. But just be nice and relaxed. So everything is nice and parallel towards your front, which for me is the corner. As I go back, I'm taking a slight pitch forwards. If you can, stay fairly upright with your back. But if you do need to pitch forwards like I am, it's no further forwards than a normal mini hip hinge. So arms going back, toes are coming up, and then heels are coming up. So you're just rolling through your feet. Wonderful. And then keeping that knee bend going, I'm going to turn completely to the side. We're going to now swing one arm back and one arm forwards. And this time you're going to open up your shoulders so that both hands face the same wall. But keep your head facing forwards if you can. Bend the knees and open up both palms facing the same wall. So there's that lovely rotation in the shoulder. Just gently getting that nice rotation around your torso, thinking about the side seams just twisting a little bit. And this should be quite nice and relaxed. The hips are staying pretty much facing your front. That hip might open up a little bit, it's not the end of the world. But generally when you're bending your knees and straightening, you're making sure that your knees are going over your toes, they're not rolling in or out or one way or the other. We're going to add on to that, and most of you have done this with me before. So we're going to think about the right and the left arm at the front of the body. So we're lifting, so we're going to do 3 of these. So the left arm is forwards, and then the right arm is forwards, and then the left arm is forwards. And then you continue taking your arms up to the ceiling. You turn to square your shoulders up to your front, thinking about the left arm, swinging it back, little knee bend, and it finishes forwards. And then we go to the other side. So I'm staying sideways on, but it's probably easy for you to watch, to stay facing forwards, probably as you were anyway. Think about the right arm leading now. So right arm forwards, left arm forwards, right arm forwards. Continue taking those arms up, square your shoulders up, pull the right arm and the right shoulder back, and finish with the right arm forwards. 2 more sets if you can. Left and right and left up to the top, pull that left shoulder back and swing through to finish on the left, and then right and left and right and up to the top, square the shoulders, pull that right arm back and finish with it forwards. Hopefully that worked really well. So one thing about that last movement, I want to think of it like I'm going to call it the Titanic type of moving. So what I mean by that is it's very fluid and flowing, as if you're the figurehead at the front of the Titanic, and the wind is sailing through and you're pinning your arms back, but you don't get stuck. So it's the Titanic, as in it's a flowing, continually flowing movement, or continually moving movement. That doesn't really make much sense, but I think you know what I mean. As opposed to the madness dance. We're not doing that one today. So try and think about that with all of these movements that we're doing, especially the flowing sort of circular ones. Great. Continuing that same sense, if you like. So let's go I'm going to face forwards again. Feet just inside your shoulder width apart, thinking about the side seam of your torso, and we're stretching into a side bend. So you're just reaching down the side seam of your leggings. We've already lifted the rib cage off of the hips, just nice and gently to start with. And then start to slide the other fingertips up the side seam of your top, towards the armpit, but don't get it stuck. Just gently lifting up. So about middle of your ribs is probably comfortable, as in you can keep your hand in contact with your body. And then gradually go a little bit higher and think of the elbow being at the highest point. And at that point the hand just dangles in front. And then we're changing sides. So the elbow is really high. And then let's add on. This plays havoc with your bra straps, ladies, so just might need to have a little adjustment there. So elbow as high as you can get it, and then straighten the arm up to the ceiling. And then as we come up, think about the side seam of your torso. Turn the palm up as you bring that arm down. So over to the other side. Trace the side seam, and then elbows really high, and then a beautiful straight arm, and then that palm up. And again. Make sure that you're breathing nice and evenly. So now we've got that straight arm, straight line all the way up to the ceiling. Now just reach across. Make sure you're staying sideways. I just realised my underneath shoulder was a little bit back then. Make sure the shoulders are square and then coming up, right, over to the other side. So elbow as high as you can get it, then straighten the arm, then sweep across. Watch that underneath shoulder hasn't rotated back. So you've got a pane of glass in front of you and one behind you, and you can't twist. You're just literally going sideways. Elbow, straight arm, stretch the arm across. Now push your hips across. As you do that, you'll go a little bit lower, but then bend the knees and relax down in the middle. Hang your hands down to the floor. Knees are bent, nod your head, shake your head. And then straighten both legs. Keeping both legs straight and your arms reaching down towards the floor,
bend one knee and then swap to the other side. So one leg is bent, one leg is straight, and you just alternate. Come back to straight legs in between. And if you haven't done this before, have a look at my hips. Your hips, top of your hips basically tilt, and that's what we're after. Tilting and tilting. Great. Then bend both knees in the middle and roll up through the spine, strongly pulling that belly button in. Let's go over to the other side. So we're reaching over to the other side, lifting that elbow up as high as you can, taking the straight arm up, then stretching the arm across, and then finishing the movement by pushing your hip over, and don't hold your breath and relax all the way down in the middle. Okay, this time we've done this rotation before. You're going to straighten your right leg. So look at the screen if you need to, but otherwise just follow the instructions. Straighten your right leg, and then you're going to take, I'm sure I'm going to go that way. Straighten your right leg. Take your right elbow up towards the ceiling and extend that arm up towards the ceiling, pretty much like what we've just done, and then sweep the arm round. Come back to the middle, swap sides, straightening the left leg, lift the left elbow up, so it's the straight side, the straight leg is the elbow you're lifting up. Look up to the ceiling, so you're rotating your shoulders and losing the voice, and then sweep back down. One more each side. Straight leg, that side elbow lifts up in a straight line. Look all along that arm, and then bring the arm back down by your side. One more. Elbow up to the ceiling, sweep it round and coming up. Let's come up, taking your jumper off as you come up. This time all the way up. Brilliant. We've got one more movement. Just watch me a moment, especially if you haven't done this before. Very similar movement. When we get down to the floor, we're going to have that straight leg. You're going to lift your elbow, you're going to extend the arm up to the ceiling. I'm looking up to the ceiling. And then really just relax this shoulder and allow yourself to be pulled back up to the ceiling. Just watch again. So the straight leg side, lift the elbow, rotate the shoulders, hips are already rotated. Really just relax. See how relaxed you can be with this shoulder. Don't fight it, it will absolutely be, it will work out absolutely fine. So let's go one more time each side. So over to the side. Elbow, straight arm, sweep the arm across, push the hips across, keep flowing, make it a Titanic movement. That same side, the same arm you had up in the air just now, straighten that side leg, lift the elbow, extend the arm up to the ceiling, look up at it, and just gently unravel yourself. It's like you've got hold of a hot air balloon as you're coming up. Over to the side, elbow lifts, straight arm, stretch it across, push those hips across. We'll make you go, help you to go a little bit lower, relax all the way down. Straighten that other leg, lift that elbow, look up, extend the arm up to the ceiling, relax, breathe, and allow that natural unravelling as you get to the top. It should hopefully feel really nice. Brilliant. Okay, we are going to stand with our feet completely together. Hold on, let's just get the equipment back in order. And we're going to take the leg out to the side and just point the foot, keep everything nice and parallel, and take the opposite arm up to the ceiling. So there's this wonderful diagonal line across your body. And then bring the leg in and swap sides. So I can see in the monitor, you can have that foot slightly off the floor if you would like to. I can see in the monitor that my torso isn't changing. It's not tilting, I'm not twisting in the pelvis. Torso is pretty much staying exactly as it was. My tissue box is staying as it was. So I'm thinking about that pane of glass in front and behind me. I can't twist or rotate. I'm really going strongly to the side. Couple more. So take a breath out maybe as you extend the arm away. Breath in as you return, swap sides. Breath out and breath in. Whoops, see how the tips a little bit there. Breath out and breath in. Breath out
this next side. In fact, I'm sorry, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to change sides. So I'm going to be standing on my weaker leg for one leg standing, because that standing leg is now going to do a little bit of work. Pop the other hand on your hip. It feels like we're about to go into some Highland dancing, but not today. So lift that leg up at the side, and now I want you to cross the leg over. So this arm, top arm, is reaching up towards the wall and the ceiling where they meet. The foot is sweeping across on a diagonal line, the whole leg actually, to where the floor and the wall meet. Yeah, that's right. And then coming back. So I'm keeping the leg nice and straight. I'm keeping the foot beautifully pointed. No curly feet, no changing at that ankle. Standing leg is beautifully straight. My tissue box, my torso has not changed at all. If it's getting too much holding that arm up, I'm sure you can manage it really, but you could maybe put the hand on the hip, on the other hip. So we're thinking about the side seams of the body. So this is the inside side seam, if you like, the inside seam of your legs, which is a really important area to work. It's one of our 10 things to do every day. Not specifically this exercise, but just this movement across your midline. There's my midline. We're squeezing, taking the leg across, working those inside thighs and your pelvic floor area. And also you'll find some work going on your standing leg, which is why I chose my weaker one to start with. Probably going to be a little bit more tired on this side. So think about inside thigh, pelvic floor, cross over that pubic line, that straight line. Try not to fall over, and that's enough. So it's the standing leg that's probably going to cause you more stress, but focus on those inside thighs as well. So let's set ourselves up really well. Ooh. Legs are together, opening the arm out to the side, taking the other leg out to the side, popping the spare hand on the hip, and then lifting that leg and swinging it across. So it might look like on the camera that I'm doing a semicircle, but I'm not actually. I'm taking as straight a line as I can across. Imagine there's a wall here or a chair here, and you're just trying to tap that wall. Shoulders stay square, standing leg straight if you can, lifting the torso, keeping the torso beautifully still, thinking of those inside thighs, that pelvic floor area as you cross over. Work until the standing leg feels the same as it did on the other side. Good, I'm going to do a couple more. No turning out of that leg. Hips stay square, shoulders stay square. And that's starting to hurt now. So just a couple extra when you would actually quite like to stop. Push it. Get that training effect. Get that little tiny bit more. And enough. Well done. Great. Okay. We are just thinking about the sides of the body, but really getting our rib cage moving for this next exercise. And this, I'm going to call this the bread making machine, and you're going to see why in a moment. So feet are shoulder width apart, knees slightly soft. I want you to shift your rib cage, the box of your rib cage from side to side. You're trying to touch the wall, The hips stay still. So generally in class, when I do this on its own, this is fairly successful, this reaching from side to side. And then if we go, I'm going to turn sideways. If you pop your hands on your shoulders, bring your elbows forwards. Now we're taking the rib cage box backwards and forwards. Backwards and forwards. You could even keep your arms to the side, actually. Quite like that. Or you could sweep them forwards and open them out. But that's the one we normally do. So we've basically taken our rib cage, the box of your rib cage, side to side and forwards and back. And we're now going to go round in a circle. In fact, let's just do that. Pop your hands on your hips and circle around. And then change direction. So with your hands on your hips, I quite like that as my sort of foundation for this movement. Brilliant. Okay, then we're going to clasp the hands. You're going to circle your cauldron in front of you. Hands are staying at the same height, at chest height, and you're circling around. So taking that great big circle, stirring your pot, stirring your cauldron. Great. Now what I'd like you to do is take your hands or your arms and your ribs in opposite directions. So, and it becomes like the bread making where it's kneading the dough and then changing direction. So when your hands are at the side, when your arms are at one side, your ribs are pulling into the opposite direction. When your when your hands come in, your ribs go towards your hands, then we're in the opposite direction. And then when your arms go forwards, your ribs are going back. So there's the movement from the side. And changing direction if you can. And I know I can't see you, but what I've found in class so far is that everyone's been getting their hips going or wanting to move their hips. Try it with your hips. Absolutely, make sure they go in the opposite direction. One side is relatively easy, one direction relatively easy. It's okay, but it's not as good as the. It's not as effective, let's say, at getting this rib cage all shifting about, and that's the bit that we really want to work on. Okay, I'm going to lower my cameras down because we're going to come onto the yoga mat. We're going to take some side to side stretches. If you have a yoga mat, nice and wide on the yoga mat. Turn the toes out, turn the legs out to the corners, and we're keeping the body nice and upright, and we're just shifting from side to side. So knees are going over the toes. Good. And I would like you to be as wide as you can here. What we're going to do is we're going to stay over one side. So we've created this lovely straight line with this leg, and then into your torso, and then into that arm. So you might want to rest your elbow on that thigh. You might just have your hand there, but try not to be upright with your body. Try and lengthen and then stretch away. And then drop the arms down, bend your knees and swap to the other side. Watching that underneath shoulder isn't too rotated back. Try and stay nice and sideways, swapping and reaching, and swapping and reaching. Quite strong on the legs. And the focus again, stretching out this side, the side seam of your body. Good. One more to the other side. Great. This time let's turn and come all the way down to the floor as we normally do. So feet hopefully are already in the right position for this nice wide long lunge. Back leg is straight, hips are low. The front hand goes opposite that front foot, and your knee is above your ankle. Really, really important. Don't have that knee too far forwards. And then we're going to lift the other arm up. You're going to rotate away from the camera, trying to touch the ceiling, opening that arm out. Then bring that arm forwards and thread the needle through towards the camera, underneath, sort of towards the floor, again on that diagonal, and then open up and thread it through. All of this lovely wringing out of the spine. Open up and thread through. Wonderful. 3 of those. Now place that back heel down, which opens up that back hip, and lift your chest. Taking one arm forwards, one arm backwards into that warrior pose. Keep the knee over the toes.
Maybe lift the arm up, reach up to the ceiling, and then we're going to swap to the other side. It's up to you whether you turn that leg back in again or you could keep it turned out and just twiddle around to the other side. Your feet should be in the perfect position to go on straight away on the other side. The hand opposite that front foot, underneath your shoulder, and then we're lifting up to the ceiling and threading the needle through. You might want to bend that arm a little bit, you might want to keep it straight, entirely up to you. Think about the twisting action that's going on in this around your spine and flow. Make it a Titanic type movement. I think that was an extra one, or Billy bonus extra one on this side. Great, we're putting that back heel down. Look at it, completely change the position of your foot. That will open up this hip, lift your chest. This thigh should be nice and perpendicular to the floor. Big word for a Monday night. And then lifting up to the ceiling, don't get stuck. And coming all the way down, bring that leg into parallel and come down onto all fours. Well done. Great, okay, so on all fours, we are going to just take our ribs to start with. No, not our ribs, sorry. We're going to take our hips from side to side. No, not necessarily taking hips from side to side. So taking hips from side to side would be this, if I face forwards actually. Hips from side to side would be that, so you can see my bottom reaching out either side. We're going to shorten in the waist. So shoulders stay still, and I'm shortening on one side of my waist, which, so seen from above, this side will be really short and curved, and the other side will be a much longer curve, and then to the other side. I'm trying to keep my spine pretty much in neutral. So it's like a dog when it's wagging its tail, and then shorten the hip on one side and turn your head to look at that side. And then as you do that, see if you can stretch the longer side away a little bit more. And then try the other side. Shorten, look. It's like you're trying to look at trying to catch your tail, like dogs do. Great, and then come back to the centre. Wonderful. Then this time I'd like you to take your ribs only from side to side. So the box of your ribs, side to side. So now my hips are staying fairly still, and I'm trying to shift the rib cage from one side to the other. Hands are there, shifting and shifting. And then we're going to go to the side, we're going to come up, we're going to go to the other side, and we're going to swing down. So a full spine circle. 2 or 3 in each direction, going back the other way. Really trying to get that torso, the rib cage moving as much as possible. Last exercise here, I'm just going to back up a little bit. We're going to take, in fact I'm going to face forwards again, we're going to take the ribs over to one side and really take them over to one side, so much so that you are in balance enough to be able to lift hand and leg off of the floor. And I bend this arm. So if you're watching, if you can see, my shoulders and my hips are staying at the same height. It's not this, it's not a tilt. That means I haven't shifted my rib cage over. So I am managing to balance, but by tilting the shoulders and the hip girdle. This is a real shift all the way over. And you go over so far, again you feel like your back is rounded. It's shortened on one side and lengthened, the curve is lengthened on the other side. And you're quite balanced there. And you might start to find that your head just starts to tuck in towards that shortened side. And then, if you would like to, take some walks. So these are our reptile walks. Walking forwards and walking backwards. It's the same side, hand and foot. Really shift the rib cage over. And your back might be a little bit rounded. Just check mine out in the monitor. It is slightly, but that's fine. It's just stretching that side seam, getting it all moving. Brilliant. Okay, we are walking lizard walks, so I call that. So let's come down onto our backs for some bridge work. Great. So all the way down. Take a moment to just settle your spine onto the mat. Think about the natural curves. So especially the curve in the lower back, the curve at the nape of the neck. The rest of your spine is really nice and relaxed. See how much of the back and line of your body you can get in contact with the floor, including your feet. We're going to go up to a bridge and we're going to go up in stages and then come back down in stages. So there are 4 stages. The first one is just to tuck the pelvis under, lift the pubic bone, really scoop out the tummy, push your lower back, that curve, into the mat and then roll back to neutral. In order to make that happen, you push down through your feet, you think of your knees lengthening away. Now go again, push the lower back into the mat. Now start to peel your spine off of the mat and stop at your lowest ribs, which are only just above your waistband. Roll back down through the lower back, release to neutral. So we've done 2 stages and then go again, adding on another stage. Lower back, lowest ribs. Now we're on to the middle ribs. Make sure the knees don't start to splay out. I can feel mine going then. Knees over your toes and then reverse peel back down. Lowest ribs, lower back, roll out to neutral. And again, lower back, lowest ribs, middle ribs, and then we're all the way up to the top. So we're on the top of our shoulder blades, the flat part of the top of the shoulder blade. But your collarbone is nice and open, your head and neck are relaxed. Check the ribs at the front. They should be connected, they should be relaxed, they should be connected to your hips, like you've got a rod between the hip bone and those lower ribs. So no ribs flaring is what I mean by that. Now take your fingers, poke into that crease in your bottom, your gluteal fold, where the sort of smile of your bottom is, and switch those muscles on, activate those muscles. Maybe feel like you're drawing your sit bones towards each other a little bit and see if you can get those hips to open up and lift up a little bit more. When I say open up, we're opening up at the front of the hips, the hip flexors. And if you're anything like me, I'm quite tight there, so this feels really nice. So activate, use the back, the muscles at the back of the hip to open up at the front, and then keep that switched on. So now we're going to come back down in stages. So soften the breastplate first, down to your middle ribs, and then back up to the top, and then middle ribs and lower ribs, lowest ribs I should say, and then through to the middle ribs, back up to the top. Keep those gluteal folds switched on all the way through. Middle ribs, lowest ribs, lower back, but this feels really weird. I'm still very much tucked under in that pelvis, pushing the lower back in, and now lead with that pubic bone. Lowest ribs, middle ribs, up to the top. Last one, here we go. Middle ribs, lowest ribs, lower back, and that wonderful release and roll out to neutral, regaining your natural curve in your lower back. Good job. Okay, we're taking the arms out to the side. Just need to move my mat over a little bit. So arms are out to the side, level with your, just below, hands just below your shoulders. And now this time come up into a straight bridge, lifting those hips up nice and high. Switch on the gluteal fold, see how high you can get those hips and open out the front. And now I just want you to think about taking your ribs from side to side. Again, this is the whole class has been focused on this side seam of the body. So just take a little, almost like a snaking movement from side to side. And when I do this, you might want to just reach your arm away. It's a little bit weird around your shoulders, but see if you can just free the rib cage up. When I do this, so for instance, when my ribs go to the right, my head naturally wants to just drop and be really relaxed in the opposite direction. And then when you've got that movement going and it's feeling okay, I want you to meander down. So you're bringing your hips back down, but you're sort of snaking, or you're meandering like a river to come all the way down to the floor. The head will stay a little bit more still until you get that pelvis down, and then just relax. And then let's try one more of those. Up to the top. Second time around, hopefully it'll feel a little bit more comfortable. So just get the ribs moving, stay at the top. Notice whether your head wants to roll from side to side. It might not, but just mine does. So do an equal amount side to side, staying up, and then just start to gradually meander down. When you're meandering down, your head won't want to move so much because you won't be able to go so far, and just feel like you've unravelled the spine. So really interesting movement in the spine. Great to just wake up all those nerve endings in the spine. Fantastic. We are coming into our abdominal section. So I'm just going to bring that over there. Let's go all the way up into a bridge again. So lift the hips up, and this time we're taking the arms up and over. Turn your palms up, lead with your middle finger so that your middle finger touches the floor, and then from here I want you to imagine that you're hanging onto a branch with your hands, and reverse peel down through the centre of your spine. It should feel quite nice. Unravel that spine vertebrae by vertebrae. When you come down to neutral, draw your shoulder blades down in your back. Give yourself a little hug around those armpits. Turn your palms up the other way. Lead with the shoulders first, then the elbows, then the wrists. And then as you bring your arms to your sides, parallel to the floor, in the 100 position, clear your head and shoulder blades for an abdominal curl. And then we're lifting the front leg, lifting the leg that's closest to the camera. We're going to take several leg positions. We're going to pulse 3 times. 3, 2, 1 with the leg there. Slide the other leg away along the floor. Another 3 pulses. 3, 2, 1. Extend that leg up towards the ceiling. It doesn't have to be 90. It can be out, but keep it straight. 3, 2, 1. Flex both feet. Take the hands up to the ceiling. Push the heels of your palms. 3, 2, 1. Bend everything in. Relax down. And here we go again. On the other leg this time. So hips up, open up the front of the hips, switch on that gluteal fold, turn your palms up, middle finger touching the floor, reverse peel down through the spine, lengthening pubic bone away from your fingertips, draw the shoulders down, bend those arms, bend the wrists, coming up. And then we're on to the other side. Knee fold only. No change other than just a little pulse lifting up. 3, 2, 1. Extend the other leg along the floor. 3, 2, 1. Extend that leg up to the ceiling. 3, 2, 1. Flexing both feet. Hands up to the ceiling. 3, 2, 1. And come back down. One more set. Double legs, here we go, last one, you can do it, last one of this variety, up to the top, palms are up, middle fingers touching the floor, we're reverse peeling down, allowing the breath to just carry you down, shoulders down, elbows, wrists, clear the head and shoulder blades, sorry, both legs up, here we go, 3, 2, 1, both legs extended, 3, 2, 1, feet flex, hands up, last one, 3, 2, 1, let's do a couple more here, 4, 5, and relaxing all the way down. Good job, brilliant. How are we doing for time? We're good, okay. Hands at the back of the head now, you might be glad to know. Elbows out to the side to start with. So I want you to think about the shape of your spine, think about your neutral spine. You're going to unweight your feet. So first of all, you're going to think about unweighting your feet. So elbows are just on the floor so that your upper body has got quite a bit of ballast to hold everything there. Think about unweighting your feet. Don't actually lift them off the floor, but just think about unweighting them. You might want to unweight them slightly, but just think about it. Thinking about it should be enough. Notice what happens in your body. Specifically in your torso, hopefully you'll feel an extra connection, rib cage towards the hips. You'll feel an extra connection in your lower abdominal wall, but with no change in shape anywhere of your spine or your pelvis. So now let's lift the legs. So unweight them and just hover them slightly off the floor and then lower them. Don't relax in between. Hover them and lower them. Don't relax your lower abdominal wall especially. Hover them, inch off the floor and lower them. Hover them and lower them. Great job. Okay, now bringing the elbows forwards and in. Let's take 4 upper abdominal curls. So we're coming up. Breath out if you want to do your breathing. Breath in as you lower. Think of the armpits hugging around you. Give yourself a hug at your armpits. Keep those elbows forwards. Your head is heavy. I could wiggle my nose around the whole time I'm doing this. My arms are doing the work. We're taking that hinge from the rib cage, but the lower abdominals are nice and set. Okay, let's go upper body up and down, and now lift the legs. This time we're lifting the legs a little bit higher, but just to the point, I want your feet to be really quite relaxed, just to the point where your knees are above your hips, and then lower the legs. And then upper body, and lower, and lift. So just lifting the thighs. So now you have to stay switched on in that abdominal wall the whole time. Lifting, lowering, lift the legs, and lower. Now let's add on to this, lifting the upper body. As you lower the head, lift the legs. So it becomes a seesaw action. As you lift the head, lower the legs. And then lift the legs, lower the head, lower the legs. Keep going, lift the legs, lower the head, lower the legs. 2 more. So a seesaw action, staying nice and strong in that centre all the way through. And last one, lower that upper body. Brilliant. Using that same amount of strength in your upper body and to bring those legs in. You're going to come into a really tight little ball. So you're bringing your knees in as high, as much as you can. Hands are just in a soft fist by your ears or by the side of your face. Really try and go nice and as tight as you can. You're not allowed to hang on to your legs, but what you can do is push your elbows into the sides of your knees if you want to, just to get that little extra curl. Then you're lowering upper body and lower body at the same time. Head to the floor, feet to the floor, and then stretching out into a big star position. Now take some breathing. We're going to do 3 more of these. So breath in here, and then we're breathing out as you draw everything in. Continue breathing out. Get rid of all that air. And hold it in nice and tight, and then extend away and big breath in. And breath out. And hold and lower to the floor. So holding that breath as you lower. Breath in when you're in that full extension. All the way. Bring your hands and feet in, knees in, so you can get that lower back off of the floor using your abdominal wall. Stretching out one last time, breath in, and then we're going to draw everything in again, into that tight ball. Now stay in your tight ball, roll over onto your side towards the camera. Hold it there, rest your head down. Now stretch your top arm and your top leg away, and think about pushing that side seam up towards the ceiling. And then really as relaxed as you can, roll onto your back, so you're in half a star, and then extend the other arm and the leg going off off the mat wildly. Back into your full start, and then we're back into our tight ball, breathing out, squeeze everything in. This time roll away from the camera the other way. Rest your head down, relax that underneath shoulder, don't be uncomfortable. Stretch the arm and the leg away, lift the side seam of your torso up. Gently roll onto your back, open out arm and the leg, extend the other arm and leg. 2 more to go. Here we go, drawing everything in. And rolling over onto your side. Relax, you know what's coming up now. So just try and really relax that underneath side. Stretch down that side seam of your body, hand and foot lengthening away from each other, opening out, and then open everything out. Last one, draw everything in. Roll over onto your side, relax the head, relax that underneath side of your body. Push the ribs up towards the ceiling, and then rolling onto your back and finishing off in that beautiful big star shape. Well done. Good job. We are from there. We're going into our big shoulder clocks, which we did last week. So just make sure you've got enough room. I'm going to need to shift over a little bit actually. I'm going to go sideways on with this today. So make sure you've got enough room to have your hands by your side. We're going to take one arm is going to take a great big circle all the way around, and we're going to swap sides. So arms are out by the side, feet and knees together. Lift one leg up, it doesn't matter which, and just cross the leg over completely. Make sure there's no gap between your knees. So in fact, I'm going to talk rights and lefts. So I've lifted my right leg up and I've crossed my right leg over on top. And so do the same side as me. So no gap, and then we're just gently going to let the knees loll over to the left and then return. And do 3 or 4 of these and be really quite relaxed with it. So as I take my legs to the left, on my right arm, practically the whole arm, not quite my hand, comes off of the floor, and then in order to return, I just stretch that right hand away or think about pulling that right shoulder back. It will just give you that sense of unravelling, but it's not too important. Just be nice and relaxed. No, don't work too hard with this. And then let's go all the way over, lying on your left side. As you roll onto that left side, get completely on your side, bring your right hand on the floor down behind your hips. Lift your head up and turn and look over your left shoulder. This is really important, and this is the only bit of tension you've got in your body really. Lift that right hand over your hips, stretch it away past your other hand, way past your other hand. Keep circling around, making the biggest circle you can. When that right hand is above your head, look up into the palm of your hand. And then I quite like to, as that hand goes past, I let my head relax down onto the floor again, and I enjoy that wonderful opening up of that right arm and that lovely stretch on my right shoulder. And then as you get that arm back into the start, it will unravel your legs back again. So let's go over again, all the way over onto the left. My right arm has come off the floor, but I'm trying to keep fingertips on the floor. Lift the head up, look behind you. Stay looking behind you, just feel your way with your fingertips on the floor. Then look above into the palm of that hand, rest your head down, open out the arm, or do whatever works for you. You might want to, let's do one more. Same direction, over, sweep it round. So just, this is for you to play about with it. You might want to follow, you might want to turn the head to follow that hand and that arm. Great, let's swap over to the other side. So lifting the left leg up, cross over your legs so there's no gap between them. It's not meant to be like a figure of 4 stretch. Let the knees and the hips, let everything relax over to the right side. My head tends to roll in the opposite direction. That feels quite nice. That feels relaxed for me. That feels natural. Don't force anything, just notice what happens. So this is my tighter side, maybe at the front of my chest. So literally the whole arm is coming off now. That's fine. And then rolling all the way over onto that right side. As you start to roll, start to circle that left hand down. It's at your hips when you're fully on your side. Look behind you, back at the screen, maybe if you're in the same position as me. I can't quite extend my arm, but I'm going to do my best. Reach the arm above your head, the left hand now, left arm is doing the circling. I'm going to rest my head down and allow that chest to really open up, and then my knees will come back to the middle again. And my legs are starting to unravel because this is the tighter side of my hips. So over to the right, lie on your right side, lift your head, look over that shoulder, reach, circle that left arm round. Fingertips trailing along the floor all the way. Brilliant. One more. Over to the side. So you could take the arm above and go in the opposite direction with your circle if you wanted to. Maybe another time. I've just done it there. Just feels slightly different. Great job. And come back to the centre. Wonderful. We are from here coming onto our tummies. How are we doing? Yes, we're good. So onto your tummies, working the back of the body now. So we're going to place the legs a hip width apart. Just check you've opened up your pelvis, pubic bone pushing into the floor, connect the rib cage at the front, place one hand on top of the other, fingers on top of the fingers, and place your forehead on your hands. And just check in with your body here. We're just going to take a little bit of stamina work internally as well as the back line of the body. So the first thing I want you to do is draw your belly button away from the mat as if your life depended on it. And you might find that your pelvic floor joins in a little bit. Hopefully you'll also feel that you're connecting your rib cage towards your hips. Hold everything. Once we set everything up, hold it. Continue to hold it in place all the way through. Now switch on your pelvic floor. Start by tightening around the back passage. Draw that movement through, that contraction through towards your pubic bone. As you go past your sit bones, slide them together towards each other. They don't move, but that's what I want you to think about. You might feel a little bit of buttock activation where we were working on the gluteal fold earlier. Lift internally your pelvic floor. Lift it up towards your head, parallel to the floor along the spine. Now push down on your elbows. Push them down into the floor. Feel your shoulder blades, around your shoulder blades, draw down. Slide those shoulder blades back towards your hips. And now the final part is to just lift the back of your head and neck so that your back of your head and neck is coming in line with the top of your t-shirt, no higher. Hold everything there. Your face is parallel to the floor. It's in exactly the same position. So belly button drawn in, pelvic floor lifted, sit bones sliding towards each other. Rib cage connected. Push down on the elbows. Slide the shoulder blades down on your back so your neck is long. Then lift and hold the back of the head and neck. Hold it there. There might be shaking, that's fine. When you do endurance work and you find shaking happens, it's because you haven't got much stamina in the right muscles. This is all quite subtle, quite internal. Good, and have a little relax. Woo, brilliant, one more of those. Belly button, tight towards the spine. Pelvic floor, sit bones, slide towards each other. Holding everything there, rib cage connecting. That will probably happen as you do the pushing the elbows in, slide the shoulder blades down. Imagine you've got the longest neck in the world, and then hover your forehead off of the floor. Keep the chin tucked in, hold it there. Hold it there. And breathe. Check your breathing, no holding the breath. Notice which bit isn't working very well. Holding it all there. Or notice which bit starts to slip, if you like. And then relaxing and collapsing.
Wonderful. Hopefully you didn't fall asleep then. Okay, fantastic. We are finishing off with some flowing, kneeling side bends, as the whole of the class has been about the sides of the body, with a couple of other bits and pieces in between. I'd also like to encourage you to just have a bit of a roll around at this stage, and I'm just going to give you a couple of options as we do this. But let's start here. So knees are together in the middle of the mat, and we're going to take one hand out to the side, level with those knees, and extend the other leg to the side. Just a little bit of a lifting up of the leggings before we get going. So hand, knee and foot are all in line, and then you sweep the spare arm, brush the fingertips along the floor and come up to the side. So here we are again in this lovely side seam stretching position. Think about lifting those middle ribs up towards the ceiling. And then bring your legs together, relax your head down, swap sides. Sweep the arm across the floor, so you're looking underneath it. Great, think of the middle ribs lifting up, hand and foot stretching in the opposite direction. Exactly the same as we did when we were lying on our sides from the nice ball shape that we made. And now start to make it a little bit more dynamic. So you're lifting the leg up and then you're flowing to the other side. So make it a Titanic movement, don't get stuck. Stretching, flowing, let it all go. Good job. And if you would like to just adjust this, add a little bit more in. Every time you come back to here, maybe roll onto your side. And then what I was doing earlier was opening out my legs, going to the back corner and lifting up. So you needed to watch that really, because otherwise you'll be facing away from the camera. Coming back down, bringing my knees together, and then I'm going to go out to the other side. And coming down and rolling over. You could just stay here, you could just do this sort of thing. And then stretch out, that's quite nice. Or you could go there, open up, and that was a movement we did a little while ago. And handily I've got my wall there, so that I can, I've forgotten which side I'm going now, I can touch that wall to help me. Or, yeah, maybe take the hip down and then lift up. Have a little play about with it, have a little bit of a roll about. Another one that plays havoc with the bra straps. And then maybe come up onto all fours. So just listen to your body. What does your body want to do now? I feel like I'm very mobile around my ribcage. Everything feels nice and warm now. So the only thing for me, as always, is those blessed calves. So I'm going to curl my toes under, lift my hips, pad through my feet. If that doesn't feel too tight for you today, then do something different. You might want to practice your coming into your deep squat. Practice a little bit of movement around there. Just going from side to side. Take a moment or two, it's rude not to just play about a little bit. What about opposite hand and foot walking forwards and backwards in the bear? Thinking about, in fact that's a lovely movement for thinking about the side seam of the body. As you stretch that arm forwards, I'm getting a wonderful stretch all down that seam. Just play about with it. And take a moment or two to finish off whatever you're doing. Thank you so much for joining me live at 5. I hope to see you again next week.